To present tonight's first silver induction, please welcome veteran of 3 Indianapolis TV newsrooms, including 2 as news director, Washington and Lee University professor Kevin Finch.
It is a great band. I'm enjoying them all evening. It's good to be back here in Cleveland. And it's good for the first time to be back here and not counting how many, whatever station I was working for, had won up to this point. It's very refreshing not to have a dog in the hunt for a change. I'm here to present the first Silver Circle. And if those of you aren't that familiar with it, it recognizes individuals who have made significant contributions to television for 25 years or more. John Butte's career spans Louisville, Asheville, North Carolina, San Francisco, and Detroit, reporting, producing, anchoring, and serving as news director before settling in as a news director, including 6 years at WMAR in Baltimore, where he sent a crew to cover the Colts' midnight snowy departure in Mayflower vans from Baltimore to Indianapolis. Only if he'd only known then how that would all turn out. He was also a news director at WFLA in Tampa, spent a year with Disney's Crusaders weekly investigative magazine show in Burbank before accidentally landing at the 3rd place station in Indianapolis, WTHR in 1994. Yes, some morning folks at THR will add that they were #1 for many years, but morning TV didn't have the legs then that it does now. And it sure didn't translate to a station whose early evening newscasts lost to reruns of Punky Brewster. John changed all of that. In a whirlwind, 2.5 years, John guided, cajoled, inspired, and molded a sleepy news operation into a contender, and in the process, changed the Indianapolis TV market's competitive landscape for the next 20 years. He is famous for making his own entrances with an "all rise" in his southern Indiana drawl and his mantra, "dig deeper, work harder, accomplish more. We have further to go." But managers and aspiring managers, listen to this. He's also known for this profound saying, "Make me smarter." He did not come in with a cookie cutter from somewhere else. He wanted to learn from his staff, and he celebrated well in the moment. If you doubt his influence, Indianapolis TV folks, the face you're about to see on this video is the one you can conjure and curse when you get up at dark 30 on Indy 500 race day. John Butte invented race morning coverage in Indianapolis. He invented weekend morning news in Indianapolis too, with quite a launch: the President, the Pacers, and the Pole. John knew that a station mired in 3rd place needed to make noise to get attention. After many years working for the Dispatch folks with ONN in Columbus as its president, he eventually came to Cleveland as news director and later general manager at WEWS, where again he moved the needle. And finally, he became an educator at Kent State. So let's take a look at that career.
I have a pretty extensive background in television news, both in front of and behind the camera. I went to college as a journalism major at Indiana University and graduated in radio TV.
John Butte, WHAS News on the Froman Farm near Gent, Kentucky.
My first job I got out of college was at WHAS in Louisville, Kentucky.
Hoosiers are Hoosiers.
I've worked at several television stations across the country.
Critical and rating success. His personality left an indelible mark on the newsroom.
It's my anniversary, Mr. Boss Man. Here he goes. There's the boss.
Congratulations on your anniversary. We're so proud. Reporting, producing.
Welcome to another broadcast of the Crusaders. I'm John Butte, the executive producer.
And anchoring for a time.
Not discouraged, a bit disappointed, Hendricks found an aardvark at the Pittsburgh Zoo, and the zoo director willing to let him haul the aardvark to New York.
This is ONN, Ohio's Ohio's 24-hour news channel.
This was the mid-90s, and the 24-hour cable news genre was really at its peak. In the summer of 1996, we launched the Ohio News Network.
Serving Ohio for more than a decade, this is Ohio's...
At the time, it wasn't a ratings-driven program service. It was a subscriber-paid service, and so we had the opportunity to do what we thought was higher quality, more significant work. It was quite exciting.
This is ONN.
I had developed so many strong anchors and reporters and producers over my career that I understood greatly the business of talent. That's what I do at John Butte & Associates. It keeps my hand very actively engaged in the television news business, which I think makes me more relevant as a teacher.
This is TV2 News.
I'm the faculty advisor for TV2. People are watching. It is a service, and the better and the more pertinent and more relevant you can make that news and information, the bigger and better your audience is going to be. It's that sense of what is the news today? What is the most important thing that's going on here today that's important to students, and are we covering it? And are we telling those stories well? That's a big challenge, and I think that's what makes it difficult. But it also is just one of those things that has always made what we do so much fun.
I tell our reporters they're advocates for people and for change. We're really advocates for you.
In John's words, all rise. John Butte, Silver Circle, 2014.
That's a pretty big buildup. What do you think? I have a few notes. They said to give a speech, so I figured I'd take the opportunity to at least say a few words. Thanks, Kevin Finch. I always said that Kevin Finch was the president of the John Butte fan club. So, it's a pretty big deal to me to be up here tonight. There's a pretty legendary group of leaders, of broadcasters and journalists as you, who have had this honor bestowed upon them. Pardon me, I'll get my composure in a minute. These folks at WOOS know all about that. But anyway, you know, there's names like Caldwell, Bibb, Gregory, Goddard, Smith, Dominic, Ahern, Henry, Shanley, Cope, Krim, Paris, extraordinary names in television in both Indianapolis and here in Cleveland. There's a fellow tonight sitting at our table who's pretty particular. His name was Bud Ford. Bud's been in television over 70 years. He's both a Silver Circle and a Gold Circle nominee. And Bud is here tonight, and he's had an extraordinary career. He's such an example for all of us, such a person with such a passion for what we do. Let me thank, though, a few people who deserve recognition tonight. Barbara Sissoni, a friend of mine in Cleveland media, who nominated me for this award. Tiffany Tarpley, when I started John Butte & Associates in 2008, the first thing I did was I went to Unity in Chicago. I didn't know what the hell I was doing as an agent, but I thought, you know, I probably could do this. And so I went there, and I had a little sign, I had a little TV, and I had a little videotape, and I was playing it, and I was talking my game. And Tiffany Tarpley, God bless you, Tiffany, she became my second client. So Tiffany, we were able to guide her to Milwaukee, and this spring she came to Channel 3 here in Cleveland, WKYC. Tiffany, thank you for being here tonight. David Herverton is a student of mine at Kent State University who edited this video. In 2 weeks, David starts as an associate producer on the website at WKYC, just another accomplishment of our Kent State students. How many Kent State students are here tonight? What kind of KSU grads do we have? Would you all stand for a moment, please? All right. Very good. Barbara turned to me, Sis Oni, and she said, why is Ball State winning all that stuff? Why aren't you guys from Kent State? I went, holy shit, I got to do better, don't I? Ball State, be careful, because that's not going to be the case next year. My mother always said that I was born under a lucky star. And I think I was. Because here tonight is my wife, Ana Luisa Sanchez Ceballos of Puebla, Mexico, and our daughter, Catalina. They keep me humble, which is a very difficult task, as Kevin knows. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your companionship. Thank you for me and my best friends. My dad always said, talking about his past life was ancient history and who cared. But we always listen, so tonight you get to listen just a little bit. My first news director was a fellow by the name of Bob Morris. I only mention his name not because it really matters. Bob's not even alive, but he gave me my first job, and I'm eternally indebted to that man. My first general manager, also not alive. His name was Mort Cohn. Mort Cohn was the general manager of WLOS-TV in Asheville, North Carolina, when I got my first news director's gig in 1974. Mort was a pretty interesting fellow. He really wouldn't let me expand the news department a whole lot. And the reason he said so was, he said, you know, we're a small station in a small town, Market 36. He said, we need to protect our employment. We need to make sure we don't hire people we can't sustain in tough times. So let's hire who we need. Let's hire the right people, but let's respect them, let's value them, and let's keep them. And it was a lasting memory, and one from Mort Cohn that I think he would appreciate that I repeat tonight. I hired a lot of good people along the way. John Saunders and Byron Pitts at ABC, Mark Strassman at CBS. You remember the swimmer, Diana Nyad? I got to work with her at the Crusaders in Hollywood. Angie Tukarski, who's a significant executive. She was a news director at WBNS in Columbus, went on to Denver and then Boston. There's a significant news executive now in New York. The late Jim Boyle was an assistant news director I hired in Baltimore in 1983. Jim went on to be a legendary news director at KSAT in San Antonio. Died prematurely of a brain tumor earlier this year. Was news director there 28 years. What a remarkable run. John Stair, your anchor man at Channel 13 in Indianapolis. Small story about Channel 13, and I'll try and wrap this up. I said to Finch when I got there, it was 1995, I think, spring of 95, and it was Emmy time. I said, Finch, you ever enter the Emmys? He said, well, no, we really haven't. I said, well, hell, we've been doing some pretty good work this year. Let's enter the Emmys. Where is our Emmy chapter? He said, it's in Cleveland. I said, Cleveland? Why the hell do we have an Emmy chapter in Cleveland? But I said, all right, let's enter. I said, we got some good stuff. Well, we won 4 Emmys that year. The next year, I think we won 6 or 7. After that, we've won more Emmys than any other station in this Emmy chapter, year in and year out. Kevin's not counting, but I am. You guys are at 11 tonight. Hats off to Channel 13. But I tell you, you got smoke coming up behind you, Channel 59 over there. I said hi to Carrie as I walked up. They're looking closely at you guys. How many you got? Don't tell me, it's too many already. Wooz, you're doing pretty good tonight too. That's a good thing. All right, finally, what am I proud of? A national IRE with Steve Andrews at WFLA in Tampa, where we investigated foster care. National Edward R. Murrow, Channel 13 in Indianapolis, where we investigated malfeasance in office by the Speaker of the House of the Indiana General Assembly, got him defeated in the next election. That was with Kevin Finch. Mother Teresa, Ann Ryder, got the last interview ever with Mother Teresa. That was an interesting story. I won't go into the details, but Ann did a very nice job with Steve Starnes, the remarkable Steve Starnes, who retired recently. This one cost me a little bit in Cincinnati, but I returned Channel 5 to the Circle 5 logo, one that it deserves, the legendary logo, and it has it today, and hopefully it always will. The Crusaders, I created that from scratch in 1993, a remarkable effort, remarkable program. We were first in syndication that fall. Crazy story. Who knows of the Pet Rock? Raise your hand if you heard of the Pet Rock. Yeah, some of you remember the Pet Rock. I wrote the story of the Pet Rock in KPIX in San Francisco in 1975. That's it. You can applaud the Pet Rock. Those of you who don't know the name Pet Rock, Google it. It's as funny as it can be. This guy didn't have two pennies to rub together, but he spent a lot of time in a bar, and he had the idea that he could sell a rock. And so he put it in a box and wrote a 32-page booklet on the care and feeding of your pet rock, and he sold it like crazy. And we found out about it, broke the story in the 7 o'clock newscast at KPIX in 1976, I think was the year. And he went on to make a bunch of money. And what was fun is he opened a bar on the South Peninsula, and they're south of San Francisco, and he called it Carrie Nation. I thought it was rather ironic. So with that, I say thank you very much. It's been an honor to spend all of these years doing television news. As my mother said, born to an unlucky star. Anyone who has the ability to work for 50 years, soon to be 50 years, doing what they love, doing what they think is important, doing what they think is noble, and getting to continue to do it, that's a lucky person, and that would be me. So I thank you for this honor tonight. I thank you for the opportunity to have pursuit of my dreams, television news, for all that it's been for me and for all that it will be for you. So, if I can get through this last line, and I'm sure I can, work harder, dig deeper, accomplish more. You have further to go. Thank you.